Welcome back to the EDC Gear Guy channel, people. Here we are. I apologize for not doing any videos for the past 6 weeks or whatever the hell it's been. My office has been being renovated in a serious way, and but those days are over. Back to video time. So anyway, Cold Steel is, well known to be the king of big ass folding knives. And I don't mean like big, clunky, flea market type knives. I'm talking about real, functional, battle-ready, hard work, ready, jumbo folders. Like the one that's in my pocket, for instance. That's what I'm carrying today. Oh, Cold Steel Recon 1 XL. That's right. Look at that Tonto, fully serrated. That is a serious self-defense blade right there, folks. Anyway. So, this trend of like awesome jumbo folders can pretty much be put squarely on the shoulders of the Cold Steel's founder, Lynn Thompson. So when GSM purchased Cold Steel from Lynn Thompson in 2020, there was definitely some speculation that the days of the big, badass folders of Cold Steel were over. Well, that was proven to be false. And in the first half of 2023, when the Mayhem was unveiled, it was definitely proven to be false. Okay? Not only was the Mayhem a big, badass folding knife, it was solid as all hell, completely new style and design, something like a lot different than you saw from Cold Steel usually. And it sported a new type of lock that has proven to be one of the knife industry's strongest. There's a lot of debate about that, but in terms of how much weight the lock holds on these knives, it's impressive. I think it was, what the hell was it, like 1,100 pounds or something crazy. Don't quote me on that, but it was a lot. More than even the last, than the Triad locks, which is saying something, for sure. So yeah, the style is just so different, so beautiful. Just not what it's very Cold Steel, but not at the same time, which I kind of like. Congratulations to GSM for keeping it going, keeping the dream alive. So I have owned this particular knife here since March of 2024, and I've carried it a lot. You can always tell when I take carrying a knife seriously when it has a snaggletooth MF on it. That means that, a knife needs to be quickly deployed, in my opinion, if it's going to pull self-defense duty, which is obviously what I'm using this knife for. So let's go over the specs. The overall length, open, is 13.5 inches. Big boy. Big boy. Blade length is 6 inches. Cutting edge is 5.38 inches. The blade thickness, 0.17 inches, or I guess 4.3 millimeters for you non-Americans out there, which for a blade this big is surprisingly thin. You'd think this would be a 5 millimeter blade, but it's cool. Blade material is AUS 10A. That is for the standard model. There is two different models that have been made that are both made with Cold Steel's incredible S35VN steel. This happens to be one of them, the full blackout Mayhem. Only 1,000 of these were made, and this one is S35VN. I want to strap one of these puppies on there and carry this thing, but I'm afraid to jack it up. Now, there was also one that was made with red G10, and this, I just bought this because of the red G10. I just wanted... And I was super surprised that China made counterfeits. Yes, this is a Chinese counterfeit Mayhem. And I gotta tell you, a lot of times I'm disappointed. It is smooth as silk. It's really close. I mean, this thing is really, really close. What are the giveaways? Obviously, they just can't help themselves. The Chinese have to put that raised, like tan-colored shit on there instead of just doing it the right way, which is great because then at least we know they're fakes, right? Other than that, I mean, everything. The G10 is really nice. Good grip to it. The hardware looks really close. Except for this one. It's a little bit shiny, isn't it? Clip's a little different, a little longer and skinnier. There's some grind lines. You can see sort of some cheap grinding. Like, look at the tip there. You see that right there? Look at that. A little wavy there at the tip. And this says it's OS 10A. There's no... That's the other way that they screwed up in China. The ones with the red G10 are S35VN, so you can get these fake ones in black as well. Solid black, or this, gray and black, or red and black. But they all say OS 10A, and they all have the cheap raised writing, Mayhem writing, and, you know, this cold steel writing too. But I gotta tell you, what the hell did I pay for this? Like $40? Dude. I asked him, I sent him a message. I said, what's the steel really made of? He said 8CR. I mean, 8CR, this monster with an actual, I mean, it's more or less, I'm assuming it's the same type of lock, right? Smooth action. It's probably a little cheaper, the parts inside too, but whatever, $40, that's pretty good. So beware. There's fake Mayhems out there. You can tell when you play with it, it's nothing like these originals. I mean, it is. It's a lot like them, but it's not. There's something about the smoothness. I'm assuming this fake one has like some real shitty, dirty ass washers or something. These do not. For once, I took this one apart. I don't know about this one. I took this one apart, and the washers were like pretty much polished. It's the first time I've ever seen that with a cold steel. So I didn't even mess with it. I just put the scales right back on and just called it a day. Really smooth action. I mean, really sharp. Be careful playing with this thing, man. This will lop the tip of your finger right off. So, like I said, has a snaggle tooth on it because the knife needs to be able to just be whipped out of your pocket and bam, open. For self-defense, which, like I said, is obviously what this one's being used for. Length 13.5, blade length 6, cutting edge 5 3/8. Blade thickness 4.3 millimeter. Blade material OS 10A. Blade style. Now, they call it a clip point. I guess it is. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a clip point. But it's kind of like a clip point cleaver. It's whatever it is. It's friggin' awesome. I love this. Oh, and this thing is so sharp. Oh, my God. These come... I mean, it is crazy how sharp these are. These are razor, absolute, like, face shaving, razor sharp. Insane. Frickin' insane sharp. These knives. The Chinese one, yeah, it came pretty sharp. Not as sharp as these, but it was pretty friggin' sharp. I was impressed. Usually the Chinese clones come a little bit half-assed on the edge. But no, not as sharp as this. These both are just disgustingly sharp. They're terrifyingly sharp. The blades are awesome. When you have this, what do they call that, a swale? You have this swale coming in here at the top. You have some kind of jimping, which I guess if you were like, you got a pretty large finger choil here. I guess you could use it. Technically, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to get in there and get some fine work done, yeah, why not? It's definitely a good aggressive jimping. It holds its own as far as jimping goes. Your blade grind is a flat grind, so it's not hollow, which is important because this thing was hollow. It'd be a little bit too dainty because the blade, like I said, it's not that thick. It's really not that thick. And look at the point, real thin and sharp. So, you know, the finish is obviously a satin. Let me get something to wipe this tissue or something. I'm getting my grubby fingerprints all over this poor thing. This beautiful thing. Anyway, whatever. So it's a great satin finish. I love the finish on it. The handle length is 7.5 inches. So real big handle length. The material is G10. The handle's awesome. This is where they kind of stuck with the theme. The good old-fashioned Lynn Thompson theme with these sort of curved wraparound handles, multiple grip areas. Because, you know, if you're going to use this to defend yourself, you're going to want to choke back probably, but still have your pinky in a nice, cozy area that's not going to slip. You have a huge finger guard in the front, huge. So yeah, this thing, great for food, great for self-defense because you got a lot of protection there. You really do. The G10 on these are pretty, the handle is surprisingly, it's not big. It's pretty thin for what it is. The G10 is, you know, pretty thin G10 scales. You have some sandblasted steel liners in there. Everything's pretty much sandblasted except for the blade. All the other metal is sandblasted. These are full liners, and they are, from what I can tell, they are solid. No, there's a little bit of skeletonization going on there. So the handle's great. The grip areas are great. The finger trails are just right, or finger grooves are just right. The G10 is kind of like what you get on like a Spyderco, your typical Spyderco G10 model. Not super grippy, but grippy enough. Not bad. Kind of like GSM's new, their new, like, much finer grip G10 that they use as compared to the Lynn Thompson days when they had that real aggressive shit that, where'd I just put that thing? Man, what'd I do with it? Like this. I prefer this old stuff. I mean, this stuff is like, you know, you can like, you can file your nails with this stuff. It's good. They probably should have done that, but yeah, I mean, it's good. Whatever. It's G10. Works for me. So yeah, handle length 7.5. The handle, it is a lot of goodness in this handle. I'm basically, I can't complain. The weight on this puppy is, according to Cold Steel, is 13 ounces. They tend to F up the whole weight thing a lot. So let's see what we got. 13 even sounds a little light. No, that's right. I mean, I'm going to say they're right. 13 and an eighth. This is probably an eighth of an ounce, right? This add-on here. Maybe, probably not, but still, that's close enough. All right. Way to go. They're getting better at that. Usually they're way off. This is ambidextrous, right and left-handed. As you can see, it is tip-up only. That's it. No option for tip-down, which is the way God intended it to be. And you would be an idiot if you wanted to carry this tip-down. Just saying. You do have a small, I guess you could fit some paracord through there, through that lanyard hole. You got a lot of grip for pulling this thing out of the pocket. It's actually really good with the snaggletooth because I can really get in there. My fingers stay out of the way of the blade swinging open. And it's this knife with a snaggletooth waves from everything. You know, a lot of knives like this one, for instance, this waves from most pockets without too much trouble. But you have to learn to do it. You pull it out and aim down and pull. It's like without practicing constantly, you would pull that thing out of your pocket and it just wouldn't open probably half the time, depending on what kind of pants you're wearing. This thing with this giant snaggletooth, it works every time. I have friggin' basketball shorts, jeans, cargo pants, sweatpants. This fucker just opens no matter what you pull it out of. So highly recommend if you get one of these, get a snaggletooth. It's a very good upgrade. Yeah, I mean, it's for this snaggletooth, for this one's like twice as much as normal snaggletooth. It's like $25, but whatever. They deserve the money for what they put out. It's a lot of work to even just to make something small like this and build a website and go through all the trouble to sell. It costs them a lot of money, I'm sure. I would know. But normally you'd have your thumb stud opener and it works just fine. You can do the old drop it on the finger and it'll stop. Actually, there's a lot of room to do the old, tang on the finger and then boop to close it. So you can do that, and that's fine if you like to, but you really don't need to. I mean, this thing, you just, with the Atlas lock, you can just fidget and open it one-handed all day, super fast. Let's talk about the Atlas lock. If you don't know what the Atlas lock is, I guess I could explain it to you, but it's more or less a variation of the Andrew Demko shark lock. If you don't know what the shark lock is, there's a million videos and pictures online. Just search Atlas lock diagram. You'll find it. Long story short, this thing has like a fork, a two-pronged fork that goes in and locks into a piece of the tang, and that's that. And it's very strong, and it holds a lot of weight. More, I almost find it hard to believe, but it holds more than these classic triad locks, which are still my favorite. I'm sorry, triad locks rock. God, fingerprints. Sorry, guys, I know it's... Yeah, that's the one thing about these DLC coatings. They're tougher. They're as strong as diamonds, but God, they leave fingerprints horribly. But this classic lock, which is still my favorite, apparently these can hold more weight. The Atlas lock holds more weight. The only catch to the Atlas lock is that if you can slam the ass end of these things down, supposedly it can come loose. But this one's... That was only done with the Engage. And the locks on these are the springs are way tighter than the Engage lock. So there's no chance you're going to do that. You would have to like put this thing on the end of a stick and like beat it into something to make that even come close to happening. So I would say the locks. And the other thing is the Engage. You know, you saw Gideon's Tactical guy, Aaron from Gideon's Tactical. He beat the shit out of that Engage, and the blade came loose and all that. The blade on these are so... I mean, it is like... There's no movement, no nothing. So I would say Atlas lock on the Mayhem is 110% awesome and super solid. Super solid. These are made in Taiwan. Don't confuse Taiwan with China. I always say that. Taiwan, in fact, in my opinion, the knives coming out of Taiwan are better than Japan now. Taiwan is a first world nation, probably more first world than the United States. They're more technologically advanced. They make the world's best computer chips for supercomputers. And they make some of the world's best knives, production knives, in my opinion. Both of these are a good example of that. Both made in Taiwan. The heat treats that are done in Taiwan on the S35VN and the AUS-10A are just incredible through cold steel. There was a video I saw where a guy was throwing one of these. Like throwing it like a throwing knife, and it hit and it bent the tip and the tip got bent. It was AUS-10A, and AUS-10A is kind of a bendy steel. It doesn't snap. It's just one of those steels. I would say you're probably better off having it a little bit bendy. And he was complaining about the heat treat. He's probably right. If the heat treat was super dense and made this super hard, it probably would have snapped off instead. I say no. The tips are really, really dainty on these things. Like, you don't want to be throwing this thing. And he knows that. He just does it because it's cool to watch for his viewers. And I understand that too. But, I mean, you should probably be happy that it bends instead of snaps off. It's going to make this thing a little tougher. So, the Atlas lock, like I was showing you, makes this possibly the biggest fidget folding knife ever. Which, due to its size, makes it possible the most dangerous fidget knife as well. The action on these BBWs is smooth as silk. And you can see that there are obviously different styles of this knife. 3 to be exact. This model is, you can wrist flick these out too. They come flying the frick out on a wrist flick. This one, you can wrist flick this one too, but it's not quite as smooth. I'm assuming because of this Stonewash DLC coating, you can feel it. I mean, it's smooth. I'm not going to bitch about it. It's plenty smooth. But this one's definitely noticeably smoother. If I take this apart and I polish that area and polish the washers and all that, I could probably get it as smooth. But it's smooth enough. I really don't give a shit that much to go through the trouble and possibly reduce the value of this collector's item, which are only 1,000 of these are made. So yeah, I managed to get one. I missed the first one with the S35VN and the red G10, so I'm pretty stoked that I scored one of these. I probably am just going to put a snaggletooth on it and carry it. I mean, what's the point, man? You know, you buy a knife, you spend that kind of money, you might as well enjoy it. So, and I love S35VN. Just knowing that my blade is S35VN, it just makes me happy. I don't know how else to say it. So what is the RLA, or real-life application of the Mayhem? As Nothing Fancy would say, the philosophy of use. I call it the RLA, the real-life application. Obviously, first and foremost, this knife is obviously a self-defense and or fighting knife. And what a scary one it is indeed. I mean, I can tell you from using this bad boy to cut through things that it would definitely cut deep. Real deep. Real deep. I like it deep. Yeah, I mean, this blade is slicey. Super duper duper slicey. With a very tall blade design like this, you know, combined with the swedge here, and the very, very, I mean, this is like a needle sharp tip. You know, this would leave huge and grievous stab wounds. I mean, you would stab this into somebody, and when you get to this point, you would leave a wound that big. Could you imagine? And even if you kept going, it would stay that big because of the shape of the blade. Can you imagine if you stabbed someone that deep and give it the old and pull it out? That would just, I mean, holy shit, that would leave a gusher. So yeah, I would say it's going to be good for stabbing. It's going to be obviously good for slashing as well. That being said, the tip is fairly fine and slim, which could break under some serious stress. But the AUS 10A steel should give it enough toughness to deal with defending yourself against evil human meat puppets without breaking too easily. I can tell you from experience that this knife makes a fantastic kitchen knife. I use it to cut everything in the kitchen, from steaks to vegetables to fruits to soft bread, and it excels in the kitchen environment. Despite its cleaverish shaped blade, I have yet to use it as a chopping implement. But I would imagine that it would probably do pretty well there too, as long as you're mindful of this tip. You don't jack the tip up. Other real life applications. How about collectible knife? How about hell yes? This is definitely a conversation piece. I mean, you whip this out anywhere, people are going to be staring and they're going to want to talk to you and they're going to think you're the coolest guy in the room. You know, its cool factor is pretty much as high as any other folder I've ever seen. And collectible as well. Like I said, this one here, the special design one, not special design, special color. There's only 1,000 of these made, which by default makes it collectible. So yeah, the Mayhem is 100% a cool to collect knife. Even the fake ones. I mean, it's cool. You can see you can really see it in this light. The grind lines are so woo, 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 like wobbly. That's some Chinese grind lines for you. But you know what? I mean, still cool, right? I don't condone anybody buying counterfeits. Unless you're just doing it to beat on them, and I don't know. I guess that's okay. Which I plan on doing with this. I'm going to take that counterfeit out in the yard. I'm going to beat the absolute living shit out of that thing. So yeah, that leads right into the next, real life application, which is, fidgeting and fondling. This is a rather special fidget knife, if I've ever seen one. As we've discussed, the Atlas Lock makes this more fun to play with than your stepmom's gazingas. That's right, lying in bed with your Mayhem, getting your fondle on is definitely a legit reason to buy one of these, in my opinion. And at over 13 inches, when open, it's going to be the biggest thing you've ever fondled laying in bed, I'm just saying. What is it not? Well, it is not a survival knife, in my opinion. Not going to be your top choice for bushcraft. Just saying. How about EDC? Well, I mean, if it's an everyday carry for self-defense, then obviously, hell yes. I mean, I carry this thing constantly for self-defense. Do you imagine somebody's like, pulls out their pocket knife, you're like, come on, you're like, whoosh. Yeah, what? They're going to be like, it's going to be like the Crocodile Dundee scene. For all you young guys, you probably never saw Crocodile Dundee. You should go watch that movie from the 80s. Cool movie. Yes, I am showing my age. So EDC, how about just like regular EDC? I mean, I suppose if you are like super friggin' hardcore, then okay. I mean, why not? I would definitely be giving you a thumbs up for total badassery if you were using this thing to open up packages. That would be pretty awesome. So, the question is, should you buy one? Yes, you should buy one. It will make you smile. It will make your testicles grow just through ownership. And it has a serious, obviously a serious wow factor to it. you know, and how about the price at $240? Is it really worth it? Because these are these cost $240 on Amazon. I not gonna lie, when I bought this, it was on some crazy sale, and I got it for $110. And I should have bought like 10 of them. I didn't know. You know, I was like, oh, I guess they're just cheap now. You know, because you'll see that a lot with Cold Steel. They'll come out with a knife and they'll charge like $300 or $250 for a knife, and then a year later it's being sold for $170, $180, $200, something like that. I figured they just went like crazy balls to the walls and dropped the price on these forever, but I was wrong. It was just like a promotional thing. And they went back up $230 on Amazon Day. They had them down $220, which is a good deal. But at $240, is it really worth it for OS 10A and G10? Yeah, like I always say, I'm just going to say it again for the millionth time. How much would Benchmade charge for this exact same knife? Just like this. Same material, same everything. I don't know, $500? $600? I mean, they would literally, just because of the cool factor alone, they would at least charge $300 to $400. And you know I'm right. How much would Spyderco charge for this knife with the Spidey hole here? Oh my God, at least $300. At least $400. In OS 10A. In their VG10, they would charge $400 for this knife. So is it worth $240? Yes. It is friggin' worth $240. Don't be angry because you missed out on the $110 thing. Don't be a bitch and cry about that. If you have $240, buy it. If you don't have it, I understand. I mean, it's a lot of money. For any knife, it's a lot of money. If you're just catching this video within like a recent time frame of me uploading it, you could probably go grab one of these blacked out models with the good steel, the S35 yen steel, which I'm going to say it again. Cold Steel's S35 yen is the best of all S35 yen. It is incredibly hard. It holds an edge for an incredibly long time. Anyway, you could get one of these at Midway USA right now for $250. So for $10 more, you can upgrade the steel pretty dramatically. Is this worth $250? Yeah. If you say it's not, you're just a dipshit. It's definitely worth $250 for this. And it's worth $240 for this. And they only made 1,000 of these, so you got to hurry. If you're going to get one, just do it. Go to Midway USA, search Mayhem, you'll find it. If you're watching this video months or years after uploaded, sorry. You're probably beat. You're probably not going to be so lucky. Okay, so in conclusion, the Mayhem is cool, and it will make you happy. So even at full price, it's worth every penny. Kudos to GSM Cold Steel for not being a bunch of pussies. And we just want to make nice, just pocket-friendly knives. And kudos to them for sticking to the Lynn Thompson theme that bigger is better, because it is. No matter what your girlfriend tells you, she's lying to you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry it took me so long to get back on this video thing. I'm going to be ripping new videos out, like ripping them out now that my studio is done. And I got a couple guns coming up at the Kimber K6S Combat Edition. You don't want to miss that one. And a bunch more Cold Steel videos. And in the not so near future, I have the video of my Cold Steel knife collection, which I'm going to have to break that into like 5 videos. I don't even know how I'm going to do that. But thanks for watching. This is EDC Gear Guy out.